Hey, Mr. Sheriff, nice to see you.
Good afternoon.
And it is 1 o'clock. I will call the meeting to order. Let the record show all 3 commissioners are present. We will start first with our Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion to approve the business agenda with 2 add-ons under unfinished business. Request for concurrence to cancel the construction contract to move that building to the fairgrounds, and resolution in the matter of scheduling a public hearing to consider the adoption of the 2022 through 2027 capital improvement plan for Klickitat County.
I will second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the business agenda with those 2 noted add-ons. Any discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we hold over the minutes. So we have more time to read.
Yeah. Yep, I would agree with that. Which brings us then to citizen comment. This is an opportunity for citizens to address the Board of Commissioners on items that are not on the agenda later in the day. Please limit your comments to no more than 3 minutes per individual. I will start in chambers first. I think the lady beat you to it, sir, so we'll.
Susan Kelsey Goldendale. 2 weeks ago, I emailed the health department director and asked her 2 questions. One, which was, what is the goal of the health department, Klickitat County Health Department goal in regards to COVID, and also the goal for the health board, 3 of which you guys sit on. And I came in last Tuesday and submitted a written request, same 2 questions, and I have not heard anything back. So my question is still unanswered. And every time I've gone to a department here, whether it's the auditor or the treasurer, they respond really quick. I've asked you guys via a call or email, and you get back to me fairly quick. And so I'm not sure why I'm not receiving an answer to these 2 questions from the health department. So am I missing something? Am I not following the protocol?
I don't think you're missing anything, and I would request that the chairman reach out to our
Yeah,
director and
we'll get a response.
Okay,
for
thank you so
response.
much. And then when is the next health board meeting?
Good question.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure she has another one scheduled for this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think there's one on the calendar for 2021.
Okay.
anyway.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I've got 1 hand raised, Gabrielle.
Okay, Gabrielle Gilbert, go ahead.
Yes, hi, thank you for your time. I want to speak further on the childcare. Thank you for sending me the committee meeting notes. I want to say that one of the things that's blaring on that committee, it's a non-binding committee that has been created. You definitely have a win in getting the grant dollars concerning childcare or hiring someone to write for grant dollars. But what is missing is that you really make a committee where you start bringing in the industries that are in the community. You could have partnerships with ESD, Clark College, Head Start, WAGAP Institute, Custom Interface, you guys at BOCC, the Underwood Fruit, Society Hotel, the 2 hospitals. That's just some of the businesses that are in the area. The thing is that Morrow County in Oregon, with a population of 12,000, created an early learning center, and they also established a children and family services position. And I think that that is something that Klickitat County needs to address. You have a situation with rural families that there is childcare deserts. And it is one thing to say that you want to address regulations and assist in fees when it comes to at-home daycare, but at-home daycare doesn't solve the totality of the situation in the county. And that's why it requires something more. If you have a senior center that you advocate for and that you budget, you can absolutely do the other part of the life cycle, and you can begin with addressing childcare. And yes, Dave Sauter, I think because you are county employers, that you should have county daycare for your employees who have in past surveys expressed that they require daycare of some sort. So I think that the county should address that, because as much as I appreciate sympathies, it does not move the marker. And it is time after 15, 20 years of your so-called conversations about this to start moving a marker with a more targeted situation. And that's what I'm expressing. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Ms. Gilbert. I'll go back to Mr. Eldred.
Yeah, I'm just a little concerned at the amount of money you guys been throwing around since the first of the year. Like, there is no end to it. I mean, but one of my questions is, why is Dirt Works being paid for by the county to take care of white salmon parking lots and access roads at $155 an hour?
That's actually a contract to plow for snow removal at the Pioneer Center.
Okay, because it just says white salmon parking lots and access roads is what it says on here.
It's the Pioneer Center and the access road to get into the Pioneer Center, and it was sent out to bid, and there was only one bid received.
Yeah.
And then we start off with $4 million on the Roosevelt grade just ahead of the Lund construction project in Bickleton. And I believe the reason that was done was because they needed to improve the road for those heavy trucks. So we're subsidizing renewable energy, so they got a good path to their solar industrial site.
I'm going to answer you. I'm going to pause your thing, so I'm not using your time. Actually, Roosevelt grade, that is the landfill pays overweight fees when they use our road instead of their haul road. It goes into a separate fund that can only be spent on managing and updating the Roosevelt grade. That's where those dollars came from. It actually was not, so it came from those overweight fees. So the taxpayers didn't actually pay for any of that. The overweight fees from the landfill paid for that and that is to offset the damage they do to the road when they haul heavy loads up our road instead of their road.
Yeah, I used heavy haul up there, and I had to pay the county a fee for using that road. But anyway, so that cleared that up. But it's just like all this money. I mean, as I understood, when you started this project, we were doing the main steps. You had a $350,000 historical grant to do these main steps. Now you've got this all tore up. You've done every side of this building. So that $350,000 is taking care of all this? No way. I know that. And then we have, I mean, I go on, but here we got the Taj Mahal. You've got a solar panel up there that might light some LED lights. It's worthless. You got 2 generators, and you got electricity, and you got gas. I mean, this is the only building in town that has 2 generators. What do you know that we don't? Are you expecting brownouts because of renewable energy is not substantial? Then we got $3.5 million you're putting into, I thought that was a city airport. $3.5 million for the airport.
But with $3.5
The county
million.
is not spending $3.5 million.
Well, it's on your thing for you. But it just seems like you guys are constantly coming up with more money that you can throw at this and that, and it just I mean Watkins and Latham $1,300 an hour is what those people charge, and you give them $100,000 upfront. I mean, it's like money's you guys have no worries about it. Just write the check, that's all.
I would like to add that of the things you mentioned, other than the airport where I don't know where your 300 and.
Well, it was on your work.
There was 300,000 that was approved. That's all I know of. Everything else on there, other than the white salmon plowing, was authorized by the last board, not this one. It was contracts by the last board, not this one. The white salmon one we just approved today.
And then you got the upcoming Oak Ridge Road.
Sir, your time is elapsed. I did give you your full 3 minutes to comment. I'm gonna go to Zoom.
Online is Dan Clark.
Dan Clark, you're next.
Good afternoon.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. So I've just emailed you guys. Sorry, I wish I would have got it in earlier. I emailed you guys a waiver request for my parcel down on SR 142. I'm been working with the planning and roads department this year on trying to get a short plat pre-submission meeting approved, and looking at my easement through another piece of property. Easements over an existing rocked driveway. I added some road and hooked into tied into a old vacated county road that actually accessed the lower portion of my property. And so
We lost him.
Oh, did we lose you, sir?
We're still there, Mr. Clark.
although I understand from the Title 12, I have to have a 60-foot easement. I understand from that I have to have a 20-foot wide running surface. So we've been working on getting that approved and through the roads department. However, my issue is that I have with that structure in the 60-foot easement, there's only about a 33-foot wide gap between the garage and the edge of the easement. So it's necked down a bit, and Title 12 references using the ASHTO manual for highway designs, which requires a 10-foot clear zone width on each side of that 20-foot road surface. So I'd need 40 feet total, 33 feet wide. So I'm my clear zone's about 7 feet too narrow using that design spec manual. I'm again, part of the waiver is road is accessing a short plat, just a few lots. It's a dead end. It's going to be used by local traffic and fire access only. So they would be aware, of course, the existing conditions of the roadway and the narrow section on it. The existing road passes by that existing garage again on a straight section. So there's a less likelihood of a deviation from the road. And there's also going to be a stop sign where my road for the short plat would be tying into SR 142. And so that connection is about 50, 60 feet away. So there would be a stop sign there anyways. So speeds past this garage structure would be shortened, would be only about 10 miles an hour, which the likelihood of, veering off the road is pretty low at that slow speed. So I also wanted to point out in the letter I sent you guys for this waiver request that the Title 12 also references using WSDOT's local agency guidelines manual, which references the ASHTO guideline for geometric design of low volume roads for clear zones. And in those,
Mr. Clark, I'm sorry, your 3 minutes have expired. This will all be, you have submitted, if I understand your comments, you've submitted a waiver request.
Yep.
All of these issues will be dealt with at the time of the waiver request when the board takes that up. We're not really going to take up a waiver request during public comment period.
Okay.
During that formal process. I was letting you go because it's just basically you're calling attention to the letter that you sent to us, and that's totally fine.
And staff will forward that request to the proper departments that it needs to go to.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clark. Okay, we're still on citizen comment. I'm gonna come back into the room. Go ahead, ma'am.
Kathy Moko, Goldendale. Within the last month, it was brought to all of our attention that most of the employees at the Washington State DOT in Goldendale left their jobs. And I'm wondering if you have had any interaction with the Washington DOT. And I guess the main concern is that all of everything that we pretty much use in this town comes across the highway. And if the highway's closed, we don't have fuel, we don't have food, etc. Plus it's dangerous. So I just wondered if there's been any interaction to handle this.
I'm going to pause for time since I'm using your time. I am not aware, other than we have had just internally some discussions about, our understanding is that they have reassigned some folks for, and, ultimately this will be a, WashDOT is a state highway. It's a state's responsibility to do that, understanding that, we come and go via state highways all the time. And, but as far as us having a discussion with WashDOT or state folks, I'm not aware of any, at least nothing officially. I would look to my seatmates if there's something.
They don't like to answer us when we try. I haven't asked on this issue. I did make a note, I will. I don't know that they'll respond to me, as they usually don't.
I've been told that about 3 people are now working there, possibly 4. But if it's bad, if the weather's bad and the roads are bad, there's a crew of 14 that works pretty much around the clock to keep the roads plowed and open and de-iced and everything. So 3 or 4 people isn't going to do it. And I was also told that they can't bring somebody in. Our region here is Klickitat County, Skamania County, and Clark County, and then north of Clark County. We can't get bring a DOT employee from Yakima down to work here. Anyway, it sounds like a problem.
Lynn Mason.
I
Okay,
had 2642 before that.
okay,
Phone number.
There was a 2642 that included themselves.
okay, 2642, phone number, you're next. Please identify yourself, if you will, please.
Is that the last 4 of my phone number?
Yes,
That's you, sir.
Okay, Steve Hoskins.
Road hearing.
oh, do you believe?
Asking if it's a road
Steve,
hearing.
you're calling about the road hearing, aren't you?
Correct.
Okay, that's not till 1:30. This is public comment. So this is.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure my technology was working.
Okay, good. You're all set. Then I'm gonna go to Lynn Mason.
Okay. I'll just hang until 1:30. No problem.
Okay,
Yeah, *6 to mute yourself or to unmute yourself.
okay. Ms. Mason, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for your time, commissioners. I wanted to first talk about a thought I had the other day. I heard on the radio years ago about a model in Sherman County where they sent dividends to residents for the wind farms to be able to get everybody on board about that. So not just a handful of people are benefiting from it, but the actual whole community benefits. So they actually send individual dividends to residents. In addition, the money from the wind farms has been allocated to buy musical instruments at the school, build a greenhouse at the school. They hired a new teacher for a gifted program. They constructed a library. They built 2 new city halls, and they built a bridge. So my takeaway from reading that, and I found the article again, and I can send it to you. But my takeaway is that, sometimes when you're trying to put a program through that isn't very popular, maybe having a buy-in from the community or them benefiting in some way can make it more palatable. And that's what they found in Sherman County. And, these models, the model that Gabrielle Gilbert talked about, that's in Morrow County. That's across the river from us. They have a children and family services division. I know because I applied for a job there years ago. I didn't get the job, but the judge personally reached out to me to pick my brain about starting youth programs in the community so he could avoid sending their youth down the prison pipeline. He felt that the kids were bored and they needed programs, and he wanted to know how to make that happen. These people are investing in their communities and they're including their communities. And these are models that are literally in our back door that we can draw upon to use in Klickitat County, to make it so that people are also benefiting from these things coming in the community. People look at the windmills and they see dollars coming to them now, rather than an eyesore. And maybe that's something that you should look at for the solar farms going forward. The next thing I want to talk about was the health department. In defense of the health department and our health director, I heard a woman asking for a request earlier. We're all entitled to that, but these people are busy. They're burnt out. They've had a brutal year. I think that we need to give them some grace and some slack. And that's what I have to say about that. And my last comment is that—
Ms. Mason, I'm sorry, your time has elapsed.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time as well. Okay, I'm going to come back in the room and see if there's anybody in the room that wants to make public comment.
Are you allowed to make more than one?
No.
Hi, I'm Tracy Wixman from Lyle.
Okay.
And
What's the last name again? Sorry.
Wixman. Yes. And I was wondering if there has been any public or private fire districts or fire protection companies that give their service through Klickitat County, or is it still all community owned fire departments?
I believe it's all, there's fire districts.
I don't think there's any private fire, not that I'm aware of anyway.
There's no services that,
So you're either
Okay.
annexed into that fire district or you're not annexed into that fire district.
Thank you.
5364 is under you.
Okay, 5364, you are unmuted. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Erica Starr. I would like to bring up the conflict of interest about Cassandra Christopher working in the HR department in the courthouse. And I was wondering what was her hire date, and did she get that position before or after her husband became the county commissioner? Hello?
I'm gonna stay out of this one.
Yeah, I think you should stay out of this.
She's been a longtime employee.
Yes,
with
I would
jail.
say that individual has been a long-term county employee. The county does have adopted policies.
But the commissioners work directly with the HR department. How is that not a conflict of interest?
There is an adopted policy.
Have you looked up the word nepotism? The definition of it is the practice among those with power or influence of favoring relatives, friends, or especially giving them jobs.
Yes, go ahead.
It's Erica, correct? I'm sorry, I didn't write your name down.
Yes, my name is Erica.
Okay, Erica. So how this works is that the commissioners did not hire that person for that position and had no part of that person's lateral transfer from one department to another, the department head or department director chose to hire the best person for that position that interviewed. And so because of that, there is no conflict of interest because it is not somebody that's directly underneath the authority of the commissioners.
I'm very disappointed that you see it that way because all of the rest of us don't see it that way. And it is a conflict of interest. That would not go on at the PUD. It would not go on at Klickitat Valley Health. It's an extreme conflict of interest. Thank you for your time.
I guess all I would add is that it happens with other families in the county. It's happened past with other commissioners in the county. There's nothing different happening.
It's not just sister or brother-in-law, it's husband and wife. It's completely not okay.
Okay, ma'am, you voiced your opinion on this. I'm gonna move on.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll come back. Actually, everybody in the room has, unless the sheriff wishes to comment on something, no, okay. You're a citizen as well. I am gonna go. What was that?
7211.
7211, go ahead.
Greg Wagner with Cease.
Okay, sir.
Last week, Mr. Anderson, you claimed that due to the statements made by me and Cease members and citizens, the commissioners may have to recuse themselves from any solar issue. You stated that it is our fault that you will recuse yourself. That is just some more commissioners' excuses not to do their job. You have made statements that show a bias in favor of solar long before any of us ever said anything about it. You only have yourself to blame. You have caused all the problems when it comes to solar. If you wrote ordinances months ago, we would not be in this position. What did citizens say that caused you to recuse yourself from the under canvas? Nothing. It was your fault when you went on vacation to the under canvas glamping facility in Glacier National Park. You, again, caused all the problems which cost the citizens. You gentlemen are supposed to not recuse yourself and do your job as commissioners and take care of the problems in front of the county. You're supposed to be an asset to the county, not a liability. Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Wagner, I believe you misconstrued my statement as I have not recused myself with regards to anything with solar. What I was attempting to do last week was try to help you understand a potential reason why Mr. Christopher may have made those actions, as he's, I believe, done kind of conversing about that. So if you're going to make statements about what I'm making, please make sure that they are accurate.
I'm gonna go.
I don't have anybody else.
Anybody else wishing to make public comment? Not seeing.
Dave Barta.
Dave Barta, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, commissioners. Dave Barta, Goldendale. We spoke extensively a few weeks ago. I trust you all have a very good memory. My feelings haven't changed in any of those discussions. I actually want to take a moment and thank the commissioners for having an open public meeting with people present. There are other agencies, even in our town, that will not do that. And so though there are differences of opinion, and I of course always encourage people to have differences of opinion and respect one another, even in those sometimes difficult conversations, I want you to know that I appreciate that you're having open public meetings and that you are allowing people in the courthouse for those meetings. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Barta. I think that brings us. Like 1:30. It is now 1:30. Okay, thank you. That concludes our public comment period as far as for open public comment. We are now going to move This is a time we've set aside for public hearings, public meetings, and bid openings. Our first order of business is a public hearing to consider proposed amendments and extensions to the Klickitat County Annual and 6-year Transportation Program for the 2022 to 2027 period. So I will now open the public hearing for that purpose. We will start with a brief briefish staff report. Mr. Kelsey.
Thank you. Okay. So the 2022 to 27 6-year plan is required by the state. The counties revise and adopt their 6-year plan every year. So it's a planning document and it does change. And the next year, 22, the first year of the 6-year is pretty concrete at this point. Not all the projects on the 6-year plan get built in 6 years. Lots of things affect those needs, budgets, other projects, emergent needs on other locations. And so it's a plan and it's subject to change each year. And then delays obtaining permits and grant changes and grant programs also affect that and how we are able to spend and utilize those dollars. We try and use county dollars to leverage grant dollars. In 2022, the county revenues available for construction is about $1.5 million. And of that 1.5 million, 500,000 represents landfill revenue to be spent on those projects. Grant funding helps to support all the projects on the 6-year. We actively pursue grants for all of our projects when it's available. In the past 12 years, we've received $26.1 million in grants, using $27.3 million in county dollars to leverage those grant funds, for a total of $53.4 million being used to construct road improvement projects. However, like most things, there are fewer grants available today than there were 10 years ago. And sometimes reimbursement for those are delayed 1 to 2 years, depending on the grant program. So lots of factors that help us select projects to be put on the 6-year for construction. We look at collision history. We want to have a good road network that connects places and people and employment. We look at pavement condition, maintenance considerations and needs. Could we receive specialized grant funding for the project, such as walking routes for schools and school zone improvements? Is it part of a school bus route? Input from citizens? Is there development pressure that makes us take a look at some of the roads that we have? And how are the roads being used? Is it a road for commerce, farm to market type road? Does it have special requirements such as the need for all weather surface and section? And if possible, we try to balance the needs of the urban and rural communities. So the highlights of this year's plan. So for 2022, next year's plan actually, we're going to complete the following projects. So there's we rebuilt a portion of Old Mountain Road this year, and that road will get the asphalt or hard surface in 2022. The Courtney Road reconstruction and overlay projects, they will be built in 2022. We have a bridge painting project that was federally funded through grants to repaint the Old Highway 8 Bridge at Rock Creek. And then we have design work on future year projects. And then there's county safety program, which is emergent needs. And the breakdown for 2022 on the construction is $8,375,000. That's the total budget for the 6-year next year. And $807,000 are in federal funds. 3,728,000 are state funds. 500,000 are landfill funds. And $3,340,000 come from the road fund. And that concludes my brief staff report.
Thank you. I will now open the public hearing for the purpose of taking public testimony, both for or against or neutral, I guess, on the proposed 6-year plan. I don't believe we have anybody in chambers, but we do have folks on in Zoom. So I'm going to go to Zoom at this point. Please raise your hand, unmute yourself if you're on a phone, *6, get our attention. And then I am going to limit testimony to 3 minutes if possible.
We got 7290.
7290, is that?
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah,
sir.
thanks. Thank you. Not sure the exact process here on getting projects added to the 6-year plan, but that's my intention of me calling in today.
Well,
we
this
have
is the
some
process.
Excuse me.
I said this is the process, sir. This is exactly how
Okay, good.
you're supposed to do it.
Great.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay. So we obviously some self-interest here. We live out on Irie Road in White Salmon area. Obviously, it's the road. If you haven't are familiar with that service, I think several of the people in the planning department are. Is a narrow roadway servicing multiple houses, and from what I understand and from talking with several of the people at the planning department is that it's been identified as a high risk for fire and concerns along that road for safety in case there was a fire coming up the canyon, on being able to get in fire department vehicles and get out, and the employees who live along that road. And we own the property here for maybe 5 years now, and it's been said that was the issue from the get-go down here, but I reviewed the planning department document before getting on the call, and it doesn't look like Irie Road has been added to any potential future planning to improve the safety along the road. Though I do know from talking with several neighbors that they have reached out to different politicians throughout the years, and assuming the last feedback I got, which was actually hearsay from another neighbor of mine, was that there was some plan to put in turnouts for fire vehicles and or people exiting Irie Road in case there was a fire that came up from down the canyon. So I'd like to add that to your list. If you guys have questions for me, I'm happy to answer it. But if we could get that on the 6-year plan, I don't think it's a particularly expensive project if turnouts could be used as opposed to widening the road all the way down, which I think is the preferred route, and from a cost perspective, probably makes the most sense.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Ask his name.
Yes, go ahead. Could we have your name, please, sir?
Yeah, sure. It is first name Matt, and my last name is Rowlen, Rowlen.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
I've got another one, iPhone H.
Okay, iPhone H. Go ahead, you're next.
Already unmuted.
They're on.
You have another phone call ready too.
Okay, let's do that one.
8215.
8215, let's go with you.
Hi there. This is Carl Churchwell in Wisram, Washington. We got a road, I think it's called here the Park Place Road that's scheduled for some kind of maintenance. And I just want to make sure that that we need that road for more than just the people that live on it. We need it for access for fire trucks. And it is in horribly, horribly bad shape. It needs to be a hard surface road, straightened up a whole bunch, and would appreciate somebody get working on that.
Okay, sir. So just so I understand, Park Place Road in Wishram?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Clarification, that's the road we just annexed. right?
Yes,
Yes,
correct. A section.
a section of it, okay. Okay, thank you, sir. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
iPhone H is still unmuted, but
Okay,
whoever that is.
okay. iPhone H, you are still unmuted. Did you wish to make public comment on the 6-year road plan? Okay. Anyone else wishing to make public comment on the 6-year road plan?
No, Stephen Hoskins.
Yeah, I had, yeah.
Dave B.
Dave Barta is open.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Barta.
Thank you, commissioners. I just have a question, a couple of questions. Number one, on the spreadsheet that's in the packet, I assume that the numbers represent thousands. Is that correct? In the right-hand column?
Yes.
Okay, and if a project has $0 associated with it, as there's one on Oak Ridge Road in 2027, it has $0 associated, is that because somebody else is paying for it?
No, sir, that means there are no identified resources to make that project happen. It's on the list. There's just no dollars to make it happen.
In other words, it's a wish list that has no dollars attached to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my last question is, as far, I see there's a bridge replacement right in downtown Glenwood, and I think I know which bridge it is. That I'm assuming that's within track D, right? I mean, it's by miraculous, it's not.
Yes, sir.
Does the county foot all the cost for that?
Yes, the road system regardless those are county roads. They're still
Right.
county roads.
I think the treaties originally said highways and byways. I just was wondering if, yeah, anyway, thank you.
Sir? Yeah, where is Mr.
Stephen Hoskins.
Yeah, Stephen Hoskins? You had called in earlier. I think you wanted to make comment.
I don't see Stephen online here.
He was on phone, if I recall.
I don't remember which phone number it was. *6 to unmute yourself, sir, if it's.
I think he might be 2642.
Yeah, that sounds right. So, Mr. Hoskins, if your phone ends in 2642, this is your opportunity.
His phone?
I've asked him to
I
unmute.
can ask to unmute is all I can do.
He did submit a written.
Yes, that's right. And there will be another opportunity this evening to provide testimony. Okay, anyone else that wishes to provide testimony for the 6-year road hearing? A lot of screens though.
I don't see mine all popped to the top.
Well, I think mine popped to the top.
Sherry Bosque is unmuted.
Oh, okay. Sherry Bosque, you are unmuted. Did you wish to provide testimony about the 6-year road program?
Yes, I guess I have more of a question. I was reviewing the documents, the spreadsheet, and in 2027, Oak Ridge is slated. That I believe that's what was just brought up, with the 0 amount. But is that for sure out into 2027? Or I guess my question more clearly would be, is there any possibility that our county commissioners or our public works or any part of our county considering moving Oak Ridge Road repairs up before 2027?
I would just answer as far as there's nothing that prevents that from happening. The annual program is, so next year's 2022 is pretty well cemented in. The other years out, though, it's a plan, although typically things have not historically moved up, they've moved out, just because there's not enough resources. But there's nothing that would prevent it from happening.
Right, so in this, Commissioner Christopher, when I look at this plan, I look at it as we're approving 2022's projects. Everything farther than that is a wish list that can change on any given year. Based on need or funding. If storm comes through and washes out a road, we might have to take something off the list to move something forward to get that road fixed. So I look at this as 2022. Everything beyond 2022 is a fairy dust and unicorns at this point for me.
Okay, I appreciate that. So, obviously the reason I ask is because of the court case going on with Under Canvas, and that being their primary access to the proposed location they'd like to build in. And considering that our county has it slated with $0 for it, obviously in 2027, it's obviously not a big rush at this point, because as the road sits right now, it services the people who live there just fine and safely. So I guess that's what I'm here to talk about. I'm hoping you commissioners don't push this project up, because if you would, it would signal that you were doing it for favors for Under Canvas. So that's what I want to talk about. So I hope that doesn't come on your radar real soon, because it isn't slated until 2027, and it's fine how it sits. And plus, I've just heard a couple requests of upgrades that probably are more important. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. This is Commissioner Christopher again. Is it my brain thinking outside the box? Question for Public Works. Was Oak Ridge Road on the plan last year to be done on 2026? That got pushed
Been on
on to
the plan
2027.
for years.
So it's been on for years, and it's
Yes.
always falls to the end of the list. And
Yes,
has been pushed backwards. That's what I thought.
correct. It makes the connection in the link.
Correct. Okay, just wanted to
Right,
clarify
right.
that.
I saw that. I saw that as well. And I was also told in November of last year that Oak Ridge is a very low priority. So
It is for me.
I guess we're all on the same page.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Bosque. Okay,
iPhone H, he came on.
okay, iPhone H.
I haven't seen any volume.
And just went
here.
Gone.
Okay. Is there anybody else that wishes to provide public comment on the 6-year road plan? Yes,
Might as well.
yes, go ahead.
As a resident and a resident of the
What's your
Old Mountain.
name, please?
Sorry, my name is Lee Snell, and as a resident of the Old Mountain Road area, would like to thank the past board and this board of county commissioners for keeping our road on the plan. The process does work and may take 12 years, and that's because of other high priority projects. But the residents are very pleased with the road out there. It's very beautiful. Thank you.
And I'm assuming it was postponed years,
Oh, yes.
like we're talking with Oak
Yes.
Ridge, so. No favoritism there.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Snell. Okay. Anybody else for public comment on the 6-year road program? Okay, I'm not seeing anybody, so I am not, I'm gonna go, if there's questions, the board wants to ask Public Works folks, this is an opportunity.
It was brought up about Park Place Road, and I remember when we took that on, we said we'd be doing some minimal, fixing of the issues. When is that planned? Have we been down there to do anything?
We haven't done it yet. We're planning on doing it in December. We got a couple other priorities. We're just gonna spot and rock. That's what we do. So we'll fill the holes, and I let the people Park Place know that we would do that. We still are planning on doing it, still on schedule. But it won't be paved or anything. It's still gonna be what it is.
I have one that's semi non-relevant. Because it's a 2023 question, so.
It's a 6-year plan.
Right, so, but as I said, anything past 2022, I don't really get too deep in.
Feel like you're
King Ridge
or whatever it
Road
was.
has 250,000. Am I wrong? Did I swear I remember that being like 900,000 or something was, my brain's not thinking adequately? Okay.
Well, I'm not gonna say that.
Feel free. No, okay.
No, it's, because it's just culverts, that's all it is.
I just, my brain was thinking it was a higher number than that, but everything else on here looks like what we looked at before.
And
It's
you're
a
planning to
lot for
replace it with
culverts.
culverts as well. You're not planning to put a bridge in, correct?
No, we're replacing the two culverts.
But it is a lot for just the culverts because it's fish passage and that's what drives.
We'll have
up
that
the cost.
discussion next week.
Do you know, has the tribe or anybody done any fish studies to ensure that that's fish passage right there?
No, this is just fish and wildlife.
Yeah, they've
That's
told
their
us.
designation.
Right, but I mean, if we can go back through the process and get it reclassified, because the F stream, I looked at it, is not very high above that. And if they can go out there and do their, spring and fall monitoring on it, and we can get that as an in right there, that would reduce that cost significantly. And I think that might be a good conversation to have, because I know they've done other movements of the F in within that area. Just because, when they did it, they set them so far up those drainages that, there's no common sense to it.
Okay.
So that might be a conversation, with Amber and.
But that might be a bad conversation to have because there might actually be funding available if it's a fish stream.
You looking to use landfill dollars for it?
That's kind of my
That's what I'm
question.
saying right now.
If it's landfill dollars, let's get it declassified. If it's fish dollars.
And as a fish
Then it can
blockage,
stay a
it
fish
still
stream.
wouldn't be a high priority for funding. And
Probably not.
No, it would
Way
not.
higher priority. You're not gonna be able to meet that, but.
No.
Well, that was kind of my question on there is I don't know that. Again, well, I'll just end it at that. It's 2023. We'll deal with it.
Well, no, it was a good question.
Now, something to look at. That's a good idea because that would reduce the cost.
Right, well, and to me, I guess my question on Vin Ridge is a priority issue. If it's an issue we know is there, but the neighbors aren't complaining about, people aren't complaining about. Ecology isn't complaining, the fish aren't complaining, nobody's complaining. Does it maybe need bumped down so that something else that people are complaining about can get it?
The problem with the reason we bumped it up is just the culverts have failed.
Yeah.
And eventually
So
they
you
will,
think there's gonna be a runoff
no,
problem?
they'll collapse, the road will collapse.
Yeah, so it becomes more of a safety issue.
Yes, it's because we got, if you remember when Seth was here with us and we talked about it, we got special agreements with Fish and Wildlife to put an end on one of them because the road had collapsed. And they said, we'll let you do this. You worry about the fish passage when you replace the culverts. So we went and we put an end on it, or we had cones in that area of the
Do
road.
we have any kind of a fee for heavy haul trucking? Like solar panels, windmills, whatever, they gotta pay a fee if they damage roads.
We've talked about adding it to our ordinance. If we don't currently have it and we capture it under the environmental process. But we've talked about it because one of the wind projects kind of slipped through under more of a maintenance type issue, but it was a rebuild of the whole project. And that if we had an ordinance, they would not slip through like that.
Right. So I don't know that fixes this one, but if we could get something addressed so that we don't have more
Yeah.
in the future, I would be pleased.
Yeah, I would say anything that is during the permitting process gets identified, then we do, during that environmental piece, the SEPA stuff, we have a road haul agreement and because the idea is that you don't, if you're doing a project and you're damaging our road, you've got to pay for that. The road has to be, that's when you've gone out and, they do where you end up with the rating of the road, and then they do it afterwards, and the road has to be brought up to that or paid. You gotta
Right,
pay
I just
for
don't
that.
know, because most of our projects that are like that are, they're only hauling for a year or 2 years. This one's kind of a forever thing.
Yeah, ongoing. Yeah.
So it's, I don't know how many forever things we have out there.
Actually, the windmills are, once they're built, it's not like nothing happens. It's pretty regular. The cranes
Maintenance.
and big equipment are coming in very regular.
Right, but on a situation, I'm trying not to be too specific. Like this one, do they have an annual haul agreement?
No.
It's just in and it's grandfathered and.
Yeah, and they're not super loads. They're legal loads is what they're hauling. It's just they haul year round.
Right.
And our roads aren't built for that type of thing. Especially out there,
Ridge, yeah.
there's no base underneath the roads.
So whatever culvert we put in there will be good enough.
Oh, yeah, because we'll put the base over it and everything else, but yes.
All right.
Okay.
Any questions? No,
Okay,
I'm good.
okay, then I would,
iPhone H is unmuted again.
okay. iPhone H,
I've never seen
this is your
Graph.
opportunity.
that there's been any speaking out of that ever.
Okay,
All right.
okay, then I am going to,
Mr. Chairman, would
Yeah.
you like a motion?
Yes, I would,
recess
to-
this-
yeah, to continue it.
Yes.
I think whatever the language is.
Motion to continue.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to continue the annual and 6-year transportation improvement program for 22 to 27 until 6:30 tonight. That will be in commissioner chambers as well as on Zoom.
I would second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion, a second to continue this public hearing to this evening at 6:30 in chambers and on Zoom. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. This hearing is continued now.
Thank you, everybody that testified.
Yep, we'll see you folks tonight.
Yes.
6:30.
We'll leave the maps here.
Okay. Our next public hearing is a public hearing adopting the 2022 preliminary Klickitat County budget and setting property tax levy. Noting that the hearing may be continued as needed.
I leave these somewhere, Lee?
Final.
So I don't have to pack back. I'm gonna leave the easels there, if that's okay.
Are we not doing the capital improvement plan?
We are, that's,
Oh, it's back on the, it had a strike through on it.
yeah, it's because we have to advertise. I know we will be continuing until at least after that.
Yeah.
Things have to go on.
So you can hear your roads. Next year, we may go south. Who gets the money? We'll build.
Over there. Where the 16 others over there, or on the right bench.
Okay. Okay, I will now declare that public hearing open for the purpose of accepting public testimony, both in favor of and opposed to, or of the proposed 2022 budget. We will start with a brief overview by fiscal manager Jen Barkley.
Hi. Okay, going into this budget cycle, came with numerous hurdles to new commissioners. Myself being new to the position evolving into what it is now from what it was. A budget that needed to take some serious reductions to work towards a sustainable budget. Additionally, we set a goal of adopting the budget within the state standard guidelines rather than continuing through the holiday season. This was something that everyone had to adjust their timelines for it to actually come together. With that being said, this hearing may not be compiled as it has been in prior years, and it may look different. I appreciate the opportunity I've been given with this position, as well as your patience with me and your willingness to adjust as I learn. In my first budget year, I have learned a lot, and now I'm seeing the process in almost its full cycle. I have a list of processes and tasks that I now can say I will be changing to improve upon next year. Knowing that the budget would be very challenging, we started to discuss the 2022 budget early within this year. Commissioners, you charged directors, department heads, and elected officials to prepare the 2022 budget with a 3% reduction to 2020 actual expenditures. This was a lofty goal considering that the 2020 actuals consisted of operating costs associated with closed offices due to COVID. Additionally, there were COLA increases, step increases, and staff level changes throughout 2020-2021. The directors, department heads, and elected officials rose to the challenge, in my opinion. They each did their best with what they had. Collectively, excluding wages and benefits, the county managed to reduce the budgeted expenses by approximately $600,000 from 2020 actuals. a $3.7 million reduction from the 2021 budget. That does not include public works project funds, road, capital, etc. These funds are project driven with dedicated revenue source. With that being said, though, Public Works was able to provide an additional approximate $5.6 million reduction from their 2021 budget. The total 2022 budgeted expense allocation is currently at $56,482,773. The preliminary budget was built without accounting for anticipated wages and benefit increases. The board has been conducting union negotiations. Human Resources has a wage study in process to evaluate current non-representative positions, and the potential cost of living adjustments will need to be addressed on the expenditure side of the budget. What we were able to do was leave a revenue buffer to account for the new employee cost once the numbers have been finalized. This was achievable with not only the reductions, but also the projected real estate excise tax increases we've been seeing, projected harvest timber tax increases, projected payment in lieu of tax increases, the anticipated sales tax revenue, forecasted landfill revenue, and projected new grant funding anticipated in 2022. This preliminary budget is just that, preliminary. There are many changes that can be made upon public input and further board discussions. The budget is built on many moving parts that all continue to funnel in as I speak. Public Works diligently, up to last week, was making project adjustments to capital, non-capital project lists to meet the total dollar goal that you gave them. Today, you have property tax levy certifications in front of you with draft resolutions. And last week, I got word that we received PUD's proposed budget for Dallas-Fort wastewater. Today, you have a big day with 6-year road plan hearing. The advertisement for the final capital improvement or CIP plan has been sent with a public hearing scheduled for November 30th. I would like to propose that we continue the 2022 preliminary budget public hearing to November 30th to coincide and follow the CIP hearing, as well as offer the public more time to review and send in comments should they feel so inclined.
Chair.
Yes.
I'd like to add to that, if I may. I think Jen's done a tremendous job this year under difficult circumstances, in addition to learning a new process. And I want to publicly thank Treasurer Gallagher and Auditor Sorensen for their support and assistance and teamwork all the way through the process. So thank you for that.
I would like to thank you all three of you, especially. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That concludes your brief. I will now open the public hearing to receive public testimony both in favor of or opposed or neutral to the proposed preliminary 2022 budget. We have no public, at least that I'm aware of, in chambers to provide public testimony.
We did a little bit of citizen comment, but
Yeah.
I didn't stick around for this part.
So I will go to folks that are participating via Zoom and ask if there's anyone that wishes to provide public comment on the proposed 2022 budget. I'm not seeing any.
So it just amazed me that nobody cares about the budget.
Okay. Understanding that will be ample opportunity to comment for at least the next couple of weeks. Then I guess so that would bring us now for questions of the manager or the dream team that is.
I didn't say that. No, I did.
The dream team from the 90s.
Yeah, it is. I go
Triad of evil.
the triad of evil.
That's the funny thing.
Yeah, there it is. I like that. The triad of evil.
We did receive one written comment.
Yes, yes, I will note for the record that we did receive one written comment, which we will put into the record.
I guess my big question is what that REIT looks like with that comment question from the day, and we should have an answer for that by the 30th.
That would fall under the revenue category, and that gentleman expert is right there. He's we talked about it. He's looking into it.
We're looking into it.
But
being set for the preliminary budget, I still feel confident that we've done a lot.
Yes.
Yes.
We've done a huge, being this is just the preliminary, it's, I can honestly say I'm not 100% satisfied, but I'm 97%, which is anytime you can be 97% government.
That's higher than
That's,
it's ever
that's
been.
an absolute, so, well, with so many different departments and so many different electeds and everybody's got to work together and the department heads got to make the sacrifice, to make it work so we can actually budget this thing. It was a huge accomplishment and everybody down to department heads deserve my
They did
thanks.
They did a good job.
They did.
They were stressed about it. They worried about it. They called me. They did a great job at doing what they could with what they had. The packet, summarizes, since there's no public comment, the packet summarizes the expense allocations per fund, as well as department in the general fund on the second page. I went ahead and noted wages and benefits in there to show the community how much of each department is actual people instead of things, and people equate to services. The next page is a pie chart related to the 2022 expense allocations for all funds. It seems a little messy. That was the cleanest I can get it, but I think it shows an accurate picture of how complex our budget truly is.
We talked about whether we should include it, but these two, can't look at these and not say that it's not a complex budget that we deal with.
The next one is taking that piece of the general fund pie and breaking it out by departments. The next would be the landfill allocations that we have budgeted, the proposed forecasted budgeted revenues that we have in comparison to the life to date, well, I say date, but it's actually quarter 2, quarter 3 is not reflected in that, but that's what we're looking at.
So our final proposed landfill revenue is
9.3.
9.3. I was thinking we were going to go 9.4, but that's fine. Err on the side of caution is good.
Yes.
Better than 10.6.
Yes.
Yes.
But we can always add revenue. We just can't
Yeah.
add expense.
No, you're not, no, nothing. No.
And hopefully we do.
The next few pages are the non-capital project plan that was presented to you last week from the Public Works Department. They have footnotes in there about some carryover that they talked about with you all. Of course, the preliminary budget was posted before that, so we'll probably have to address that in a supplemental. The rest of the pages are the levy certifications for the general fund as well as the road fund. Like I said earlier, as well as the draft resolutions, like I said earlier, Krista, Jessica, and Caitlin were amazing to spend an hour of their day with me and go through all of this, and as well as Greg getting the administrative refund amounts and getting me added to those emails. It's truly a group effort to get this thing
How did the
together.
levy rate come in at such a round number? Levy request amount?
So it is my understanding from Krista, we shoot high. Or, so that
So
we
that's
can
not a
collect,
final number, that's an
that's
estimate.
an estimate that we shoot high so that we can collect all, because if we were to,
Undershoot.
Undershoot,
And
we-
there's more there you couldn't
we could have
collect.
collected. And I will be, I gave Lee a copy of this packet, so it can be added to today's packet, and I will also be posting this packet onto the website along with the preliminaries that are there.
That's great. Thank you. I would echo what everybody else has said. You've done a remarkable job.
Thank you.
And actually, I think we all have. I
Yeah.
think this has been probably one of the most challenging, if not the most challenging since I've been here, as far as just from the breadth and scope of the changes that have been made in a single budget cycle. It's really something. So.
And the seat that we represent is you, commissioner seat on the auditor and the treasurer. So.
Been a smidge heated at times.
Oh, well, and it will be in the future
97%.
too.
97% of those.
97 is pretty good. So with that, I guess I have a logistical question for the clerk. Yeah, so we'll need, at least I'm assuming we are going to continue the hearing. Leave it open for public comment during that whole
Written or
written, but we will allow, I think we should allow for oral public comment on the 30th.
Yes.
Can we do the?
But are we gonna do oral public comment during citizen comment for the next 3 weeks?
No, I would say, well, I don't know, what do we? It's just, I generally try to keep comments to a specific action item during.
Last year you did it.
We don't
On the
have
30th.
something next week, so.
Oh, so it doesn't matter next week.
For
But
one
that-
week.
for one
I'm
week.
just thinking, I don't know that if she needs to keep all comments with the budget and we have them broken up over weeks. I guess it wouldn't matter, no, it doesn't.
I think last year you did the testimony in each end and then you accepted written.
Right, which we get as it comes in, as far as
We
it doesn't, you can see it anytime it comes in.
No.
I just don't want to have people giving public comment on the budget during, or giving comment on the oral comment during public comment. It should be made during the public hearing.
Because our next meeting, we have the supplemental budget, which can make.
It gets confusing,
Right.
so. So I guess I would look for a motion that
Mr.
does
Chair-
all those
Mr.
things.
Chairman, I would move to continue this public hearing to November 30th, leaving it open for written comment between now and the 30th, and we will have another public comment, oral public comment on the 30th.
I would second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to continue this hearing to the 30th, open to written comment between now and then oral comment then. All those in favor, say aye. Aye, motion passes. Good, well done. Okay. Our next public hearing and final for today, I think, is a public hearing to consider declaring certain county vehicles, equipment, and miscellaneous property as surplus and setting a date for its disposal at an online bid public auction overseen by the county treasurer. Oh, and this is, so I will now declare the public hearing open for the purpose of taking public comment on having that public auction. And I will start actually with a brief, if you wish, if the treasurer has anything you want to add to the list has been published.
The list is, yep, the list is there and we're working with the departments on, finalizing the pieces. The auction will be online on Public Surplus, which is the actual auction site is Public Surplus. Yeah, and it's, will be so, but yeah, that will be the difference, but otherwise it's the same. And so it will be a bid. It's not, in the past, we've done a silent bid kind of thing. That's not what we're doing. There's no viewings. We'll take pictures, post them up there and move forward with that. So, I mean, I think, it's kind of new to us, but we've been doing some testing and we started today. So I think we're going to be okay. So the list should be up, but yeah.
Okay.
I do have one question for clarification.
Can you actually hold that? I think I want to stay to the procedure because it is now open for the public to comment. We don't have, unless you wish to provide public comment on that. No. Is there anybody on Zoom that wishes to provide public comment? This is on the surplus equipment, vehicles, miscellaneous property to be done online. *6 if you are on a phone. Raise your hand if you're on Zoom. I'm not seeing anybody. Nope. Okay. I will not quote.
Sherry.
Oh, Sherry Bosque, did you wish to provide comment?
I actually wanted to know where the public would find a list of the surplus items. What department would you search under?
I will send Sherry a copy of the list after the meeting.
There you go,
Thank,
Sherry.
thank you, Lee.
You bet.
Can I, Mr. Chairman?
Sure, go ahead.
Sherry, if you look at the BOCC's agenda every week, right at the top of it, you could click on information to get into our packet, which has all the smaller details that would also have these lists in today's packet. So if you look at the agenda, like I said, under the initial title, there's a tab here for more info kind of thing, and that's where you'll find more info most of the time. Hope that helps.
Yeah, that actually helps a lot. I didn't know that was in there. Thank you.
But I'll probably get rocks thrown at me later for telling you that, but you know.
That's the purpose of that.
That's the purpose of the link, so I'm gonna share it with you.
Oh, wait,
Yes, I've overlooked that in the past, so thank you. That's very helpful.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to provide public comment on this surplus sale? Okay, there being none, I will now close the public comment to the public hearing for further public comment. And I will look for a motion to move this forward. Or no, I'm sorry, clarification before we move on.
I gotta find it again because I
Yep.
scrolled.
Sorry.
Scroll too far. On the list I have in my packets is different from the list we got when we approved in the consent agenda. In my consent agenda, it has 76.38 pounds of miscellaneous scrap cases for the brass. And on this list, that's not here.
That's what my list shows.
Your list has,
My list says 76.38 pounds of miscellaneous scrap cases.
okay, so on my thing here, it's not there. So just as long as you get the right stuff and we're approving the right stuff,
We have
okay, I'm fine with that.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 specific calibers, and then 1.
I'm not seeing a catch on
Scrap.
what we were given.
Okay. Official probably.
76.8 pounds of brass.
Yeah, we have to make sure that the one we're adopting is the correct.
Yeah, I just didn't know if we were signing something and then, whoops, we can't sell it because we didn't sign for it.
No.
No, that's on there, so I will
All right,
make
just
that correction.
double checking.
I appreciate
And
that.
then just as a note, all those shotgun shells, if you sold those as all one lot, you're gonna get one bidder, not a very good price. If you sold them in 100 round or 250 round lots, you're gonna get a lot more love.
Yep, we will look at that.
Yeah, but as long as you got that, everything else looks fine on there, I'm good.
Any other questions or clarifications? Okay, if not, I would entertain a motion.
You want me to do?
I'll go ahead, I'll do pay as is.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to approve the auction items to be sold at the beginning of December 1st, 2021 and ending on December 6th, 2021, with the amended list.
Second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Declaring certain county property and stuff surplus and to be disposed of by auction. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Okay,
Can I get a 2-minute break?
yes. Quick break.
What?
Need a motion?
Sorry,
for break
sorry.
or not?
Not for a recess, we don't. Sorry, Ruby.
It's okay.
I'm gonna stand up for a second.
So everybody leaves.
Yeah, no, that's what it was on there. I saw it on. Yeah.
I guess my only.
I think it may be from the old, that, because I think we didn't update, I think some of the versions are not on our, we're planning on it. Yeah.
No, I'm not.
I just want to make sure.
Minimum money thing is just gonna go with. Gordy's gonna-
Whenever we get it, anything to do that, we're ahead 4,000.
Yep.
I've been watching that light pole out there
Oh, it's
rocking around. I thought there a couple times it was gonna come through the window at you.
Thank you.
See you later.
I noticed on my calendar this morning that I had a scheduled meeting with you, Dave.
Yeah, I noticed it too. After I had canvassing board, so it was fine.
Yeah.
It would have been a
Well,
conflict.
I wound up staying at home today. I woke up with a sore throat, so I didn't want to take any chances.
Okay, we're back. So next agenda item is a department update from the solid waste director, Miss Irving. And so go ahead, Miss Ruby.
All right, well, I'll try and keep this brief. For the litter crew program update, we recently got our follow-up survey data. And of course, only 41% of the people polled responded. And of course, 46% of that, which I would hope would be, a pretty good poll for the entire group. 46 of the respondents were not always securing their load, which no surprise. 40% now secure their load more often, which I don't really know what that means. 83% are likely or extremely likely to talk with others about securing their load. And 91% of those polled agreed that the campaign made it easier to secure their load moving forward. Most people felt that they no longer faced a barrier in securing their load. And the most common barriers that the respondents identified were proper equipment, not having tie down points on their vehicles, or even having a, something to secure it down with, whether it be a tarp or a bungee or, the things that we gave away. The other additional barriers that were identified were load types and the need of tarps. Some trash like paper would fly through the netting, and of course, taking the time and remembering to do it. We do have another survey starting in May, right before our next campaign. So we will poll those people again prior to that to see if there were any long-term behavior changes, and then we'll compare those with the data we get after the next event. We are still urging people to report litter and illegal dumps to our webpage so that we can start getting those taken care of. And Amanda has been taking out juveniles and adult probation as well, although it's been very sparse. And she just finished her training with ecology last week. As I just stated, the adult and juvenile crews have been very sparse since 2019. So hopefully there's an increase in that. I'm thinking when I get back from Wasac, I'll try to have a conversation with Sheriff Songer to see if we can start getting some inmates on litter crew so that we can kind of pad that crew for Amanda, because sometimes she shows up and nobody shows up. So then she's trying to find other things to do. We're also looking for volunteers to help organize and lead some community cleanup events come spring. Notably would be the city of Goldendale. we would really like to put something together where people are helping people to clean up their yards and to get rid of some of the trash that has accumulated over the years. So we are certainly working on that. With the recycling program, November 1st, our messaging changed to bottles, jugs, and tubs. That will take care of the yogurt container problem and open up the markets for basically what are number 5s. And on our webpage, we have the Waste Wizard disposal tool that people can use to determine where the item can be disposed of or recycled, or, if it's something that they can compost or repair, or there's a number of things on there. So we're still waiting for, more people to come in and check that and to, put different items into the search engine so that we can make sure that we have a very rounded search tool. We also have a number of workshops focusing on waste reduction in the planning stage. Some of these include canning, sewing or mending, composting, also cooking with scraps. As you well know, food waste or wasted food is a really big platform item right now for the legislature and upcoming rules and regs. We're also going to have a workshop on repairing or repurposing everyday household items. And we are looking for volunteers that have a special skill set so that maybe we can utilize community members to help teach some of these or related topics to other community members. Miscellaneous department items, chapter 173925 of the Washington Administrative Code is going into effect. The new rule containing post-consumer recycled content for plastic containers requires establishing a post-consumer recycled content program for those covered products. So we'll be coming together to discuss how this might look and how covered products will come to meet the PCR content requirements, as well as annually register, pay agency fees, and report. Almost finished with the Plastic Packaging Advisory Committee that was brought together to discuss future extended producer responsibility on hard recycled packaging. It has been a blur. They've met anywhere from 1 to 2 times a week. The meetings last for about 3 hours, and it's just like hitting really hard, and we're almost to the end of it. So it'll be interesting to see.
God bless you.
That's a good committee for Mr. Sauter.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I agree.
The dog agrees.
Yeah, dog agrees. It's crazy. It almost feels like EPR stuff is getting pushed just so that legislation can have a platform. So myself and Wax Swim steering committees for that EPR has been meeting to address those specific issues, and so that we can make sure that our goals stay aligned with all the legislation that's attempting to come down the line. We have the WASAC conference next week, so got lots of meetings scheduled with the solid waste managers, and yeah, it'll be interesting to finally come together after 2 years, see how things have changed over the landscape. Republic Services is just going to be really short because we have a quarterly update coming up here in a couple weeks. One thing of note is that the hauling division has ordered a total of 20 new roll-offs. There's 10 of the 3 cubic yards and I want to say the 20-foot. So 10 of each. They should be delivered and in rotation by the beginning of next year. And of course, as I stated last time, the biggest obstacle right now is not having a shop near the office where they can do regular preventative maintenance on aging trucks. So there have been some interruptions on the trash routes and curbside pickup of recycling, but they are in the process of looking to see if they can't find something that will work as an office and a shop. Other than that, that's pretty much it. We do have a new grant coming out, our RED grant, which we had for the last biennium. And so we've kind of hit that one hard and fast since we've got like a 3-week turnaround. We're trying to form together some kind of a proposal dealing with baling twine and film. So it seems to be a big major contaminant of recycling. Twine
Baling
being-
twine in the recycling?
So what we're looking at is the potential of taking baling twine and film out of the recycling stream. People like to throw it in there. It's a tangler, it's a contaminant, it's a problem. But
Who in their right mind would try to recycle baling twine?
they try to recycle diapers, so no surprises. But it does get into the machinery and causes big problems. So what we're proposing is a potential partnership with somebody across the river here to create a recycling pod of some sort where people can bring that material and we can try to send it off somewhere else so that it's not getting into that recycling stream. We haven't worked on the ins and outs yet. Like I said, it just came out, so we're just in the infancy stage of the proposal. But we're going to get with the mayors of White Salmon and Bingen and Goldendale to see what and how that might look over there in their communities. And then I'll report back to you.
Thanks, Ruby. Questions or comments for Ruby? If that's.
My mind's just blown with the baling twine in the diapers. I will never recover today.
We do have a contamination reduction outreach plan. And we do have data in that plan that spells out what the percentage rate of specific contaminants are. And the tanglers are definitely on that list. It's definitely one of the top.
Amazing.
Yeah.
People
try to recycle everything.
Anybody in their right mind would think either one of those are recyclable materials.
Yeah.
The fact that they just astonishes me, I guess, so.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
You betcha.
Nope. Okay.
All right. You
All
guys
right,
have a
thanks,
wonderful
Ruby.
day.
You too.
Bye.
Oh, Ruby, before you go, can I
Yep.
give you a call? I have an idea on I want to run by you on the maintenance
diapers.
shop, not the recycled diapers.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Please do.
Sorry. Okay, I'll give you a call when we get done.
Okay, sounds great.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
All right,
Thanks, Ruby.
you bet.
When we do consent, do we add in the add-ons or
No,
not?
they're separate.
They're separate, yeah.
And please remember
Okay.
that there's only 10 items on consent.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to approve the consent agenda with 10 items.
I would second the motion.
Okay, I have a motion and a second on the consent agenda, the 10 items. Any discussion?
One thing on there, the sheriff's RFP for the body cameras, I did see a news article. Clark County attempted to do a tax increase of, I think, 0.01% or something to pay for the $300,000 for the body cameras and that ended up failing.
Wow.
It was really poorly written how it went on there. They had to like fill it in like a certain way and nobody knew what it was actually for.
I would say that would have to be the case because I can't imagine people would vote against, well, I mean, people vote against tax everything.
Right.
It's just a couple more tax.
So, but that was one way that I mean, Clark that was the only way they had to try to, deal with this new law, where you have to record everything and it failed. So I don't know what they have planned, but when we see the Clark County Commissioners next week, I think that'd be a good conversation to have.
Good conversation. Okay, any other comments? Consent?
Nope.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Okay, then we have our next is unfinished business, the add-on, the request for concurrence to cancel the construction contract.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we honor the request to cancel the concurrent construction contract C17621 between Klickitat County and Mission Construction Incorporated for the county Klickitat County Fair Board Office Foundation Project.
Second. Okay, I have a motion and a second. This is to cancel the construction contract. Any discussion on that? Only thing I would say is I'm very appreciative that Mission Construction is, understands the situation and appears to be okay with us canceling the contract. Since we're not moving the building, we don't need a foundation for a building we're not keeping. So, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the resolution of the matter of setting a public hearing for the 2022 through 2027 capital improvement plan to be held on Tuesday, November 30th, 2021 at 1:30 p.m. in the Commissioners meeting room.
Second. Okay, I have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution setting the public hearing for the capital improvement plan. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we pay the bills. I move that we pay the accounts payable warrants in the amount of $780,213.10 and the payroll benefit warrants in the amount of $0 for the date ending November 8th, 2021.
Second. Okay, motion and a second to pay the bills. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Yes.
Yep. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept pay estimate number 5 to Grade Works LLC in the amount of $171,572.32, which contains retainage in the amount of $8,578.62 for a total payment of $162,993.70 for the Old Mountain Road Project CRP 350.
Second. Okay, a motion and a second. This is for pay estimate number 5 to Great Works. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we pay estimate number 1 to Central Washington Asphalt Incorporated in the total amount of $501,480.23 for the West Garland Drive Overlay CRP 361 federal ID number STPRK 201001 contract TA 7080.
Second. Okay, motion and a second. This is for pay estimate number 1 to Central Washington Asphalt. This is for the West Garland Drive Overlay Project. Any discussion on this one? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Don't inadvertently sign the levy certification. For budget. Board pending. Finance Steering Committee update. Mr. Treasurer.
You want me to do that?
Sure, I can do it too. I brought my copy.
I was coming in to listen. I didn't
Oh.
bring my copies. No, I was coming, I thought you were gonna do.
Oh, I can do it.
But I can do it too. It doesn't matter. So basically, the finance.
Come on up there so people can hear you.
I don't really prepare anything, but I have it on my head.
That was next, and pull down the mask so I can understand you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the finance committee met, or the finance steering committee met on Friday. We had a really good meeting. And we have been looking at different RFPs for different consultants and different folks and had lots of discussions around this whole thing. Oh, good, here comes Brenda.
We're talking about that.
Yes, like, yeah. And so at the previous meeting we had met, Gordy said he would take a stab at drafting an RFP for to begin the search, which Dave has, and we can get that or when we get it sent out. But basically this goes out and just says that what we're looking for, what kind of person we're looking for, because the finance steering committee believes that's made up of myself, the auditor, the board representative, and the director of public works. And we believe that we need somebody to help us understand what we need, and understand what's out there and kind of piece all that together. And that's what this RFP that Gordy brought, which I can't begin to say as much as Jen did a great job on the budget too, and Gordy did a great job on this and really moving us to another place. So he did a really good job of putting that together. We did kind of pull some pieces from others, but still put it together with a plan. So what we, basically, I can't remember the dates, Dave, and since you have it in front of you.
Yeah, I have it in front and I'll circulate this as the draft, is that the RFP would be issued December 1st of this year. We did move we had tentatively the return January 10th. We pushed it out a week because we thought with the holidays and that we might get better responses if people had another extra week to actually respond.
Yep.
And then, so I think that's the 7th. Actually, we may have moved it.
I thought we put it, oh, it's not.
It's in the middle of the week instead of being,
Yeah, on a
we're like,
Wednesday.
why are we set on Monday? Why can't it be
Right.
Wednesday?
I think it was Wednesday.
I think
Yeah,
it's the
it was a Wednesday.
Yep.
And then we had that, we would make the, score it, make this selection, and the person would be on board by April 1st of 2022, which we pushed that out. It was initially March 1st, and we felt like since we had pushed it off, that they would be on the job by April. So we'd have to go through the whole process, select, get a contract, and they would actually start work on April 1st. And they have to commit to being available for 18 months.
So you have until you're going to get these prospective people in mid-April, or sorry, mid-January, and you're going to make your decision and they're on board by April.
Right. And then we did.
And that's one of the reasons why that's kind of a ways out there, because we all felt that this RFP, and Gordy, who does a lot of these and kind of, and you, Dave's looked through a lot. It was kind of my first, I mean, I know what they are, but I hadn't really kind of got up to speed. So, but we really feel that there's not like a consistent, we're going to have to really read through them and read what the criteria is. It's not like we're saying you got to put a 1/4 inch of asphalt or there's no real spec of what we're looking for. We're looking for what we all think. And we went through and ranked their qualifications so that we have a rubric to be able to judge them. So we did give ourselves, I think, a fair amount of time. And in my fairness, I did want it to be later because for me, I'm usually doing taxes in the end of January and February. So I'm really, even when they come in on the 19th, I'm really not going to have a chance to look at them for maybe a couple of weeks after that. Once the taxes get out and are assessed, then we can move on. So, and that is, I hate to say it, I got to get the money coming in.
Yeah.
So
I'll remember that.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, and like you said, I think you and Gordy are way more versed in looking at the RFPs and the bids than Greg and I. So it might take us a little longer to go through it. And I was totally impressed with how quick Gordy got that out, and he's going to revise it and get it back to us. So
The changes, we did go through the evaluation criteria. So when we get these back, how we're going to score them, because it was, again, it was this isn't like so much asphalt,
Right.
it's a little more
There's no, like,
subjective. And
as-built
so
kind
we
of
did, this is our proposal, was that there would be 7 criteria. We used a point system of totaling about 100 points. And so we said the number 1 was understanding of an experience with preparing financial management RFPs, preferably in a local government setting, is 20 points. We did have a bonus award of 5 extra points, so you could actually get 105 if you've done one of these for a local government in Washington State, because we thought that would be worth a lot. Number 2, understanding of an experience with implementation of an operational software system. Number 3, because we took these out of order, or I did.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we did.
General capability, like, do you have resources available to complete the project? That was 15 points. 3, 4, prior record and your experience would be another 15 points. Cost was 15 points. So that's certainly a consideration. Consistency of proposal with the goals, objective, tasks, and timelines. That was 10 points. Then the final was unique qualities of the contractor, advantages over other, this would just be like the
Bonus points.
bonus points, 5 points.
Frosting on the cake, yeah.
The frosting on the cake.
So why did you guys decide for an RFP rather than an RFQ? Because really what you're looking for is a qualified person.
Yeah, I mean, that's would be a possibility as well.
I mean, the only difference is an
Is
RFQ.
that RFQ, that, I mean, it's, the cost is not
You're not
as,
allowed to use cost.
no, as a basis, and we felt like, at least, I mean, that's something we're open to. I mean, I guess we could,
Yeah.
we could do an RFQ if we felt like that was a closer, because that is basically what we're
I
doing.
mean, because then you, with the way you guys explained it to me, I was like, oh, it sounds like an RFQ. But
Right.
then you added the cost thing in there. and
But
so
there's the cost.
have you, and you took it through Q's office and he was good with it?
I
No,
know.
not
I don't
at
think
this
we've
point.
gotten
At this
because
point.
this is.
Not at this
goes to-
point.
Right, so that's our draft, and we've all reviewed it and said, okay, we like the idea of it. We've put the timeline of what we think is real, and I think now we're gonna go back and Gordy's gonna put the changes in, which we didn't really have that many changes, but some. And then I'm assuming it's gonna have to go out through the prosecuting attorney.
Right. you'll have
And
to
then
sign off
he'll
on
have to
it.
sign off as to form, and then we'd have to go off. So,
Okay.
I mean, I'm not, we didn't really go down that. I think our thought was more, that's just what but we could do that. We did talk about, that then we would be able to have them on site, depending on how we structure a lot of softwares that you go out and buy, they have their own implementation teams. So the question was, we wanted to be able to, we kind of put it to where we'd be able to have this person potentially, if they do have all this knowledge about the county by the time we have this and we select the software, having them to be able to kind of be in between so that, they would be able to help us with the software selected vendors that are actually putting in. That's a possibility, we kind of put that in there as a piece of like, it's out there and available to the county, which I think is a good idea, just in case we want to have them here, but we'll have to determine that at the time. So it's at least an option.
So you're talking about RFQ with money, is that and I'm not familiar with how these are done, an RFP, you can ask for funds and. the amount?
RFP is, you could cost and,
Right.
a bid, is
Like a
a,
bid.
It's a proposal.
it's a proposal. And so that's
An
dollars,
RFQ
a
is
few is
not.
just their qualification
Mhm.
that you can't. Then once you select the most, you start negotiating once you pick the most qualified
Okay.
for an hourly rate. So it's,
Which we could we could take cost out of there and readjust some of the pieces and do that.
Is there a benefit to doing that though? Or is that just adding in another hurdle? And that would be my question.
So, one thing that wasn't brought up that we did add was adding a clause in that making sure they haven't been debarred, because we could be using federal money. So,
that's sort of a, never I know. I was like, what?
Brenda came up with that.
Yeah,
Wow.
Which that's. yeah,
well, I
you've
mean,
already
you don't know, so might as
disagree.
well put it in just in case
Yeah.
or whatever. I mean, if you don't have it in there, then you're,
No,
Well, that's just part of your, conversation you have with them when you're.
Yeah.
it needs to be in writing though.
Right.
It really should be.
I don't know that there's a pro or a con being the qualifications or the other. I think it might be, I could go either way, I guess, as we're kind of having the discussion. I haven't really thought about it, but
Yeah, I know.
But I think the basic format would stay the same. Our criteria might change a little bit, but I still think I would have in there the same parts and pieces that we have as far as that goes. And I don't know, Dan, that it would slow us up that much. Because I think we would be following kind of the same
Scoring
process. I don't think it would take us another, month to get that done. I think that would be just the changing of the criteria, I think. Yeah.
Well, the selection process is not
other than
gonna,
not knowing the price
Right.
up front in their
Sure.
offer, which could be
Yeah.
a big dollar number.
Yeah.
So I would leave it where it is, where I can at least know the cost and at least value that into my, it wouldn't be me, it would be you, your recommendation based off how highly they think of themselves. But I'm
Whatever Q's fine with. I don't.
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. We'll send draft with the cleaned up language to the prosecutor. And December 1st is.
Right. and we-
Around the
and-
corner.
Yeah, and we want to get
We
this
wanted to
thing
get it out
and
the
we-
door.
Yes, we, right. And, yeah.
So it was actually accomplished in 2022.
Mhm.
Might get implemented in 20.
But hey.
Or the new, yeah,
Yeah.
system
Started in 2021 and done in 2024.
started in 1980.
Yeah, right.
75.
1975. Okay, so.
Sorry, I wasn't here to start with. I was.
No, no,
sitting
but
there.
we're almost here.
Yeah, we were kind of, yeah.
I heard, yeah.
So no, I don't have anything
Okay.
to add. I thought it was
Yeah.
a good meeting. I think it's a good document.
Yeah,
I think
Gordy-
it'll get us
Gordy
to the
gets-
next-
Gordy.
Gets a gold
Gordy,
star.
Gordy does,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
or two.
No more talking, actually produced something.
Yeah, okay,
All right.
Thank you.
Huh. Elected official, I don't know if prosecutor's on.
I think she said he wasn't gonna be here today.
That's what I thought she said.
When was?
Rebecca's on there. I don't know if she cares.
Oh, yeah. It's not on. here.
Lee?
When was Hannah gonna?
she's on.
Oh, okay, so we can do that. Let's do
Yeah,
that.
'cause I've got my.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Go ahead, Hannah.
Great, thank you, commissioners. I wanted to run something by you for your board pending. I'm hoping to present to you, if that's your favor, on November 23rd in person with this proposal, but I wanted to kind of test the waters, learn a little bit from you if you have any concerns or apprehensions, any questions that I can be sure to do my due diligence on and researching between now and then. Here's what we're interested in doing. So currently we have the only remaining 4-H coordinator position in the state that is still a county-based employee and not a WSU employee. That's in Klickitat County. So WSU, at the time that this position is now open, they would like this position to be moved back to to be moved from a county position to a WSU position. And the reason why I thought this might interest you is that in doing so, there would be a savings, a significant savings. Would it be appropriate for me to share that dollar amount with you?
I think so. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so it would be just under 40,000. It would be $39,765 in savings to the county if we were to move this position to a WSU position. The reason why is that the way that this would work and works in other counties, if this was something you were interested in doing, is that through the MOA. So currently the MOA with WSU includes, a number of items, but the monetary component is for a portion of my salary. But what would happen is the full portion of the coordinator's salary would be added to the MOA with WSU. But WSU would then pick up the benefits. And positions within WSU are paid at a significantly lower salary. So I've actually, there's been a little bit of a lag here and since the position has been vacated and coming to you with this information, because I've advocated to try to fund this position at a higher rate than they normally open 4-H coordinator positions at. The position what I would like to open this at is $55,000. And that is more than others are making across the state in this type of a position, but it's still significantly less, almost $15,000 less than the salary was as a county position. So I'm hopeful that the salary savings and the benefit savings will be such that you may be interested in moving this position to WSU. And if we were to do that with that savings of about 40,000, my next ask, nobody's surprised, we'd really like to be able to use those funds to be able to bring our office manager to full time. With the current rate and step that the office manager is at, if we were to make that position full time and also taking into consideration, the bump in benefits, it would still be a savings to the county of over $10,000.
Why are we the only person or the only county that doesn't have this as a WSU position?
So they've been phased out over time. And so, you know, in the last 4 years, where while we had somebody still in the county position, you know, the practice hasn't been to try to swap these out while we have somebody, you know, who is a county employee and then try to make them be a WSU employee. It's as the positions come open and available. When the position was open last time, we took this through a job reclassification, and it classified as a significant step and grade increase when we took it through job reclassification 4 years ago. So it's not, you know, there's no mishandling of this or poor leadership. It's just simply a matter of, you know, we're making the moves to move them this way. And then we were the last ones to have an opening. While we have an opening in position, you know, it doesn't put somebody out to be trying to change their benefits and their employer in the middle of their service to a position.
Okay, so can we go back to the 55,000 versus, you said the 70 of the current, I am assuming that's with the total cost.
It is not.
So we pay the coordinator position is $70,000.
And that has been, I would like to remind you all that has been with the 6 to 8% increases and taking it through a job reclassification.
Okay.
So that was not a salary that I set. That went through job reclassification. This is where it came out. And then with those annual increases that have been very generous, that's where that position was at.
Okay.
So the salary currently was about 70, and the benefits were about 25.
Okay.
So the total savings, it would, if we move this, would be 40,000. But I'm really hoping, and I'm very mindful of the budget and, you know, and of the other considerations, but I'm very hopeful that this could be an opportunity to make that request that I've had, you know, to give it legs, that we have found a significant cost savings opportunity. And might this be a time when we can develop that capacity that we really need in our department? Okay. And there would still be a savings of $10,000. So we'd still save 10,000, even including you know, the benefits and the additional salary moving from a part-time to a full-time.
And you have no, WSU will not have any, I guess they couldn't, because if we're the last county,
they've done it for everybody.
for everybody, so I guess they don't mind picking up the additional benefit cost.
I mean, it's definitely on, you know, they definitely feel the ouch, they know, but it's the right thing to do. And to phase everybody over, you know, when there's an opening makes the most sense. And it's our turn to do it. And you know, but it's important to me that the commissioners are on board with that. That although of course it seems like it makes dollars and cents to me, I want to make sure that this is, you know, truly something that you would be interested in doing, and they are aware that it is then their responsibility when this becomes a WSU employee to pick up those benefits. And then within the MOA, you know, the county would provide the salary support only, not the benefits, through the MOA.
I'm open to the discussion.
The moving the person to a WSU employee sounds like a no-brainer, since we're the only ones that apparently don't do it. That's a definite yes for me. The increase in staff at this point is the most I can tell you is a maybe. One thing at a time, I guess, and let me see what we're truly talking about, and then revisit the moving the part-time to the full-time later. I'm not willing to say yes at this time after just releasing other staff from their positions at the county to go and extending and giving people more of a position. You know what I mean? I'm beating around the bush there. We just had to do layoffs. I don't know that I'm quite ready to extend a position to full-time.
Okay, Anna, I would be open to having the conversation on the 23rd. I'm not gonna commit. I'm definitely moving it to a WSU. It seems like a no-brainer. The other piece, though, I'm open to having you come in on the 23rd and you know, get us the information, hopefully ahead of time, so we can really be thinking about it. I'm not prepared now based on this conversation to say, yeah, I'm 100% for it, or I'm, you know, pull the plug on it. And Commissioner Anderson did have to leave for a meeting, so hopefully you're on the agenda for the 23rd anyway. So
And is there any, and you know, the reason why I wanted to just give an opportunity to introduce this idea is, you know, is there any information or any questions that you might have that I can come best prepared with to help you have all the information you need to make a best possible decision?
I would say for me, the dollars and cents piece of it, the actual numbers, you know, written down in a format that I can understand for a, you know, a dumb aging commissioner's intellect that you have, and then also maybe work with Casey in HR just to kind of flesh that stuff out and make sure. And then the other piece would be, the other piece of it would be what kind of capacity do you get? What kind of, you know, by making the office manager full-time versus what it is now. So kind of what we're getting for the transferring the dollars to that other position.
Okay, that sounds good. That's exactly what I'm wanting. I just want to make sure that, you know, if you have any questions or concerns, that I can come my best prepared self to be able to answer them for you all.
Anything you want to add? Nope.
All right, if there's.
Okay, nope, that seems to be it right now.
Okay, and if there's any other, you know, considerations between now and then, you know, we will get a cover sheet over with a good breakdown of those numbers. I will ask HR to review those, you know, to make sure that my math holds. And then if there's any other questions between now and then, you know, between HR or commissioners, please reach out to me. Happy to, you know, make sure that, again, you have the information you need to make a good choice.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Will we see you? Are you attending the County Leaders Conference in Spokane next week?
You know what? WSU county directors are not attending in person. I am so sad to miss it. That was one of my favorite conferences. You know, Commissioner Souders, I think you recall, I ended up being the poster child for the event on all the promotional materials a couple of years ago, and it's definitely a favorite event of mine. And so I had served as the liaison for Ag and Natural Resources for WASAC at the state level, and yeah, I really value that conference. I hope you all have an opportunity to really make the best of it and enjoy the opportunity to be in person. And I'm really hopeful that that we'll be able to join in person next year and start attending in-person conferences again in the very near future.
Well, that's disappointing, but I guess. And hopefully WSU is still going to sponsor the, you know, Cougar Gold cheese break. Maybe not, since they're not actually going to be there. So.
Yeah, the Cougar Gold cheese break and the Cosmic Apple.
That's right.
Right. If not this year, another year soon.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So now prosecuting attorney, he's not going to be. I don't know if Rebecca had anything that you wish to add if you're online.
She was, but she isn't now.
Okay, that makes it easy. Anything else?
No. That's pertinent.
I don't either.
Maybe you could. No, I don't know. Were you on the Columbia Gorge Annual Economic Symposium? No, last Friday. You didn't miss a whole lot. I was on. Jake was on. Standard stuff.
Right. No, I was here with the Finance Steering Committee meeting that they were on top of each other.
There was a child care thing that I want to do tomorrow, so I'll have
okay.
On that one. That it's on the other side of the river, but might know something. Other than that, that's all I got.
I would just share, as I said, it would appear that the $2 million, the $1 million in Washington for the economic development, the revolving loan fund, we did win that argument.
Are they going to set aside $500,000?
I don't believe so. It goes to the Washington pool.
And
so
the majority of it could end up here or could end up there.
It could. And so, I mean, I guess the good news is we do have many actually, McKed revolving loan funds that are administered in Klickitat County already. That we have lots of county businesses that are accessing, it's the same thing. It's-
Which good and bad, because God, that's a high interest rate.
Oh, it's terrible.
No.
Yeah, but it's, it's,
Like, if you have to, you have to, I guess.
I guess.
hope- I give them, hope they have success in their endeavor with
Yeah.
that interest rate.
at that interest rate. Well, it is not, it's above market because you don't want to compete with the market, and it's
Well, it's-
customers that don't.
For people like me, you're self-employed hobby business.
Right.
We don't trust you. We're not gonna loan to you. Yeah, so I understand.
So, and for the most part, the portfolio performance is good. It's,
I say they're good. They got banked. They just can't get a loan.
right. So that's the people.
Hannah has her hand up.
Who does?
Hannah.
Oh, Hannah, go ahead.
I was just going to share that I was on the steering committee for MCED's 5-year strategic planning committee, and I facilitated a session every single one of those sessions. I was a facilitator for in various breakout room, and I would like you to know I advocated as hard as I could for the interests as I understand them for both Klickitat and Skamania County, and anytime when we're doing work where there's a lot of bi-state coalitions. And often there isn't as much representation from the Washington side. And I really tried hard to make sure that our interests were represented there. If you have any questions, about that, that wasn't why I had stayed on the meeting. I didn't know that you had planned to talk about that. But if there's anything I can help with that, the final report, anything like that, I would be happy to make sure that you all have that.
Thank you. Thank you for your advocacy.
Thank you, Ann.
Okay, anything else?
No.
If not, I will go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we adjourn the regular meeting until 6:30 PM this evening to conduct the continuation of the public hearing for the 6-year transportation plan.
Okay, I will step down and second that motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. We are adjourned until 6:30 this evening. Moving